What up, Republic of Gamers? Hello and welcome to ROG Pulse. I'm your host, Solid Jake, or Jake Kalinsky, I suppose we can go with here. I'm so used to just calling myself my gamer tag on these streams. And I'm joined here this week by Jeff Kentman, per usual, but a new guest, Whitson Gordon. And Whitson, I'm going to give you the court first, as this is your first time joining us here. It's going to be a frequent occurrence, I feel. So welcome.
One can only hope. Thanks for having me.
So tell me a little bit about where you come from and what brings you here to ASUS, as you are new with us.
Yes, I am new on the ROG team. I come from a decade-long career in media. I was the editor-in-chief of Lifehacker and How To Geek, and then I freelanced for just about everyone under the sun doing product reviews and how-to guides and things like that. So I'm working with Jeff and you and some other folks on all the content marketing over here at ROG.
Over a decade of passionate hardware love.
Yes. Many computers built, broken, overclocked.
Yeah, that's
Ethernet cords not plugged in, spent a day troubleshooting internet. It happens.
We're not 20 minutes late because that just happened with one of my PCs. I promise.
I was actually referring to the first computer I built when I spent an entire day troubleshooting internet only to realize I hadn't even plugged in the Ethernet cable.
Oh no.
And I still make mistakes like that all the time.
Yeah.
It never ends.
There's so many things to consider. I gotta show the cat on the stream.
Oh.
Say hello to Nico. He's a 15-year-old man. He's whining for food right now. Jeff, what's new? What's new with you?
Oh man, not a whole lot, to be perfectly honest. We kind of had our heads down, doing stuff.
Yeah, it's been a busy few weeks internally. Got a lot of cool stuff on the horizon. So
like we're on the we're sort of towards the end of the pipeline. A lot of exciting projects that we're going to see real soon. So I'm just glad to have that behind us, and stay tuned to rog.asus.com and edgeup.asus.com, and you'll see some cool new stuff very soon.
So typically when we do this podcast, we kind of just dive into one specific topic. That's been the way we've approached this show, but we're changing things up. We're making this more of an actual proper talk show where we're just going to banter and we're going to talk about the technology world, the gaming space, and everything. And when I look at the hot topics right now and just kind of like what I want to discuss, the first thing I got to bring up with you guys, and you guys I haven't prompted you for this, you're not even ready to answer this probably, is New World and the reports of these 3090s getting fried by this games closed beta. And I know Amazon has come out and said, look, we've done all this internal testing, this isn't an issue, but EVGA has that's the big, it's mostly EVGA 3090s where the reports are happening.
So yeah, I think that's the tip of the iceberg, but some folks in the community have, as I think Jay's 2 cents has been hearing from a bunch of people, that it's not isolated to those particular cards. It's happening with a bunch of different cards from a bunch of different manufacturers, Nvidia, AMD alike. So
the story always starts off as one thing and then kind of shifts as we actually get more information. Of course. People always lock on to that initial.
I mean, okay, you guys have been in this tech space for a lot longer than I have. Has anything like this ever happened before?
For one specific game, quite like permanently destroy. I don't think I've heard anything quite like this.
Yeah, this is a really interesting situation.
And, New World is a beautiful game, but I can't imagine it's pushing the 3090s that hard.
Well, what seems to be causing issues for people is that it's pretty common for games to have uncapped frame rates in the menus, and so when you're only doing like a very simple 2D thing, like your frame rates can skyrocket to like thousands of FPS or whatever.
I've seen that plenty.
And when you're dealing with and again, I haven't necessarily heard of this happening, but when you're dealing with weird corner cases like that, it can expose when you have powerful graphics cards, sucking down a ton of power, you go from 0 FPS to 1500 FPS or whatever. You have these huge transient load spikes for your power. It might stress components that wouldn't otherwise be stressed, or it stresses components in a way that a normal game would not. And it's your power supply is not up to it, and it could expose certain failure modes.
It's great. It's a crazy situation in either case. I mean,
Yeah.
our hearts go out to all the fallen
Yeah.
GPUs. Like, oh
Yeah.
my god, especially nowadays. Like,
yeah, and it is, I think, an argument. Like, there are tools out there that let you cap your frame rate. I think AMD has a built-in one in its driver. I forget what it's called, but it should be in the Radeon settings app. You can go cap your frame rate. You say just don't exceed 500 FPS, which is pretty reasonable.
I think they already patched the game to do that. They immediately were like, we're gonna patch the menus because like it's like literally the game menu is frying GPUs. Like that's basically
right. Yeah. If you don't want to risk this with any game, go set a global limiter. But yeah, I've never heard of anything like this. It's really exceptional. So even
Thank
the
goodness
most
it was a closed beta.
Yeah. even the most torturous benchmark out there for GPUs, which is called Furmark, it's like the Prime 95 of GPU testing, doesn't it stresses cards to the absolute limit. They call it a power virus. But I've never heard of it like blowing up a card or anything. So this really is quite exceptional.
The old fuzzy donut.
Yep.
It's pretty weird, pretty interesting, and unfortunate for anybody that's being affected by this. So we wish you the best of luck with getting a replacement. But I mean, New World, beyond that, I mean, we streamed it the other day. I played it a year ago, and the last time they had closed alpha sessions. And I played it even 5 years ago at Amazon Game Studios when I was there working as a freelancer on some videos for them. And it's a game that I've been deeply interested in for a long time because they're really trying to mesh the survival game and the MMO RPG like games into one. And I think it's actually pretty cool. Visually and just like the world building is phenomenal. Like it's immersive. You want to spend time there. The music is really good. It's really calming, and there's a lot of really good things with the game. So I'm personally quite interested in doing it. But do I want my new 3080 to like? Yeah, I'll wait just because I'm afraid. I mean, frankly, I'm sincerely like it's not. I'll play something else. Like so
give it some time to sort out. Yeah,
but I don't think. I mean, Amazon is so desperate for a success. They've canceled Breakaway. That's a game that I was creating content for. They canceled the game before it ever released. They did public streaming and like events for it. Then they canceled it. Crucible came out in alpha, received harsh feedback. They pulled it back to alpha after like releasing it and then canceled it. So that was going to be their battle royale. It was an interesting concept. They're doing bold, unique things. They're not just cloning other games. They're trying to do bold, unique spins on other genres. I appreciate that. And now New World, which has by far always been their biggest project, looks like it's going to be a hit. It does. The internet wants a new MMO.
Yeah.
Like people are hungry for a new MMO in the space. But like,
I think the simultaneous users on Steam was like over 200K or something like that. So it is
on
getting
Twitch,
purchased.
On Twitch, it was at 160,000 last time I checked it. Watching, the live stream. So like that's probably higher than that as the peak. So there's
awesome.
A lot of interest, and I'm hopeful for it. But we just hope they can figure out this whole GPU debacle.
Well, you really don't want to, especially. Right now, you don't want your GPU failing. So
in the meantime, if you want to check it out without your GPU failing, Jake was streaming it 2 days ago. So I think that video is probably that video on demand is on Twitch, so you can watch Jake play it and have no fear.
And we're actually gonna aim to stream it again next week. That should be patched out. And I'm hoping to stream it next Friday again because that's right around the time the closed beta ends. So I want to get one like final look at what the closed beta is. Hopefully it's a little bit. There were so many players in like one space, and I was on the smallest server I could find, but there was just so many players in one space. It was pretty intense actually.
It was cool.
But all right, other news. Rolling through the list here. Steam Deck was announced on the same day as the new Stream Deck made by Elgato. So
that's confusing.
Even before the Elgato event happened, I saw somebody take a Steam Deck, which is, if you don't know what it is, it's basically a tool used for streamers. And they took the Stream Deck and they took their Switch Joy-Cons and taped them to the side of it. And it's just like, look guys, I got a new Steam Deck. And but so Valve
it's a little confusing.
Is again making hardware. They've been doing this for quite a while, from the Steam Link to the Steam controller to the more recent things being the Valve Index, which I'd say is probably their biggest and maybe only success in the hardware space.
Success is a it's hard to put it into like success or failures. I know people kind of like to just categorize these things, but the interesting thing about Valve, and you can also look at this with they didn't make a Steam machine, but they were kind of working with other manufacturers to make these Steam machines a while back as well. And
the Steam boxes are, I think they were
Steam
called
boxes.
yeah.
I think they were called Steam machines. Was like the official term,
like
but anyway, we just called them Steam boxes. The thing about Valve when in hardware is I feel like they're not making hardware to like as a primary form of like revenue, right? Like their goal isn't to make hardware and then continue selling and iterating it. I think they make hardware to try and push the industry in a certain direction. Like they do it to innovate and then see what other people will do with it, right? You know, when you look at things like the Steam Link trying to like push streaming, or the Valve Index to try and push VR to like new heights. So I feel like, you know, people kind of look at these like, oh, Valve's going to abandon this or whatever, but it's really more about, okay, let's take this form factor that's become so crazy popular in the past couple of years with the Switch and whatnot, and let's like turn it into something really cool for PC gamers and like start experimenting and see what we can do with this. And that's really exciting.
Jeff, any
even if
thoughts?
the Stream Deck isn't your thing. I mean, like I've been playing games like that for years, like just streaming like with Nvidia Game Stream to a handheld device with like one of those Snap-on game controllers, and it's actually pretty sweet. It's really nice when you don't like, you know, you sit at a desk all day. You don't necessarily want to, if you don't want to sit at a desk.
Oh, trust me, I get that. Yeah, you want to shift.
It's cool to be able to play like The Witcher in bed or whatever,
and still get that
the
performance.
Pre-Switch days.
Yeah.
So I'm a big fan of that form factor, depending on the game, and so this could be pretty cool.
Any thoughts, Jeff?
Especially. Go ahead.
I'm just, I'm to be perfectly honest, I'm not super enthused about this form factor. I've taken the Switch on airliners. I've tried to play games. It's a miserable experience.
So
you know, it's a tiny screen.
It?
It's a tiny screen. The controls aren't, you know, I think. It's just not.
Well, let me interrupt you.
Put a game like. You put a game like Breath of the Wild on the Switch on an airliner, you know, it's on your tray table. It's just like, this is not enjoyable to me.
Well, not only that, the Switch literally can't handle the frame rate on that game too. It does not have, unless you dock it, it cannot give you, I think you're, because when you're playing mobile, no, excuse me, I'm wrong. When you're playing mobile, you're restricted to 720p on a Switch. So in 720p, Breath of the Wild runs smoothly. But as soon as you dock the Switch and upscale it to 1080p, it literally does not have the power to play the game in all situations where it'll lag, which is...
But it's also a matter of the user interfaces aren't super. This is the problem, I think, with this, you know, this device that tries to do it all, you know, like the software stack that tries to do it all, is like, if the user interface isn't well adapted for that, like Breath of the Wild has an extremely complex user interface. And again, you have all these really small UI elements, and it's just, it's just not fun. I didn't find it fun.
Not for you. So. The Switch is the best selling console of our current era. So clearly plenty of people disagree with you.
And I own one, right? And it's docked, and that's where it stays, and that's how we enjoy it on my 55-inch OLED.
Well, so just to kind of like...
That's the way to do it.
Talk about, for me, I was playing the new Pokemon Unite game last night, right? It's like, I have a MOBA background. This is like a Pokemon MOBA with a spin on it, and we've seen tons of people try to do spins on MOBAs and always fail. And this game, I'm telling you right now, is going to change everything. It is absolutely massive. It's so good. But I played for a couple hours. Just I wanted to get off my PC, like you were just talking about. I wanted to go lay down on the couch and then just like play some Pokemon Unite handheld. My hands were in so much pain after like 20 or 30 minutes of gaming, when I can sit here on my PC all day and like play games, do work, whatever, and like never will my hands bother me once. But something about the ergonomics on the Switch was pretty rough for me. So the Steam Deck is obviously taking a slightly different approach. It does have some different control mechanics to it. I guess we'll come to learn a little bit more about what that UI is like. But who knows?
And but yeah, I mean, I'm just, I think, when we talk about mobile gaming, and yeah, we're going to do a dedicated podcast on this, but like mobile phones have been or smartphones have been such a point of, there's so much innovation, there's so much of a push for innovation there. You have 144 hertz screens now on your phone, you have OLED on your phone. Now, obviously the fidelity of the games and like the general purpose aspect of the device is different, but there is this intense race to bring like a more elite experience to a smartphone. Now, obviously we're part of that. The ROG Phone 5 is a beast among smartphones,
with lots of gaming add-ons that can make it Switch-like, honestly.
Right. Yeah. And the software ecosystem is different. Like the target audience for a lot of mobile games is different, but so I look at that and it's just like, well, okay, you got this 1280 by 860 hertz display. It's like, well, all right, but anyway, we'll see how it goes. It doesn't ship for a very long time yet, but I think they should be commended. They did go out and they went to the effort of working with AMD, making a semi-custom SoC to make it all work. It's got a combination of technologies we haven't seen in a device yet, and like the battery life is on par with the Switch, despite what is likely a more power-hungry SoC, which is also commendable. And it's, again, I think this is what I like most about Valve stuff. This is why I think the Vive was the best first generation VR headset.
Easily.
Is that they're like, hack it. If you don't like how it's working, you have this Linux-based system. You can install Windows on it if you want. If you don't like how it's behaving, you can put Windows on it. You can hack it. You can, it's a platform. It's like Whitson said, it's sort of a platform for innovation, and I think people are going to do cool things with it for sure.
I think that's the most appealing part of the Stream Deck, is just the fact that people can turn this into a emulation monster if that's what they want. Right. Even Nintendo fans might prefer this device over a Switch because they can make it a GameCube, SNES, Wii, like every game in the library imaginable. Like,
if you're on the if you're raising the skull and crossbones, you can make that happen.
Or if you want to dump all your own ROMs.
But right, for sure. But I also again, I think that also maybe takes some of the sting out of it. Like, say for example, a company made a proprietary console and then they were like, well, in 6 months we've lost interest in this product. We're not going to update it anymore. The software ecosystem is dead. This is we don't know yet how this is going to do. I think we'll have to see how it goes. It's away from release, but even if it doesn't like kill the Switch, which who knows, but you're still getting a general purpose PC. It's not going to suddenly become.
I gotta jump in and say, like,
we know
everyone loves to like say, is this Switch killer? Sure. It's like, guys, Nintendo is it's like people, that's the same thing with New World. People are like, oh, is this the WoW killer? It's like no, some things just become established. They have their fan base, they have their audience. Nothing is is it a competitor? Is it a device that people will want to buy that aren't Nintendo fans to own as well? Then there's plenty of people that hate Nintendo. I'm thoroughly anti Nintendo for my own reasons.
I'm not even sure that that's not competition, right? Like, it's almost a completely different.
It is. It's a separate. It is. I think so. Yeah.
The starting price point just invites the comparison.
But it does. And obviously the form factor.
Well,
it's the same device for a different group of people.
I think where I see the Stream Deck's strength personally is there are so many games that we see, indie games particularly, that come out that end up being phenomenal on the Switch. So Stardew Valley is a big one that comes to mind, right? Stardew Valley is a PC game that saw a huge success, ended up getting ported to the Switch. But now you got to buy it on the Switch if you want it on the Switch. And I did. I was like, well, this is a game that will be great to make my flights to California fly by. And let me tell you, it does, because that game just consumes time like no other. But now if I was to buy a Stream Deck, I already own it on, a Steam Deck. I'm going to do that a million times. I already own the game on Steam, so I now don't have to purchase the game again. And I think when I just look at that as like, that is the strength. Games are often cheaper on Steam than Switch. Games are often going to be, I want to play it on both platforms. I got it portable and on desktop.
And that's why I'm a PC gamer, is because I just don't. Software obsolescence for no good reason other than to sell new hardware. Not into it. Not at all. It's like, just not my thing.
I'm super into it. I love shelling out money for no reason.
I mean, yeah, it's like I'm not, I bought Mass Effect Legendary Edition. I'm not completely free of, I'm not ideologically pure here, but it's like for the vast majority of games, it's like, yeah, I just don't want to. When I buy it, this is the beauty of PC gaming is I can still fire up a game from like 2012 or whatever, and it'll still work.
Most of the time.
Yeah,
most of the time,
yeah,
barring any sort of weird DRM situation.
And I can rest easy. It's like Steam is everywhere, so long as I know Steam can install on the PC, and yeah, I mean that's just peace of mind for me because I've got quite the backlog, and I don't want the hardware to outpace.
Most of my backlog is games that I've gotten for free on from Epic or whoever, Ubisoft, like all that. Like my backlog is just, this is like a million games that I've gotten for free or cheap over the years that I actually had no intention to play, but here they are. Maybe I'll play them one day.
Oh, some exciting
stuff. Have to see how it goes.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm personally I'm not pre-ordering it. I'm excited to see what the reviews look like. I'm excited to see how it holds up in terms of a device in comparison for performance. Because I mean, it's obviously a portable device, right? You're not going to be firing up Cyberpunk at max settings on this. So what can it handle? How flexible is it? Yada, yada. We'll see. So guys, we are going to transition to talk about our main topic for the day, which is going to be the Nvidia Reflex Latency Analyzer, or RLA for the acronym. And I've got the PG259 QNR here. This is a 360 hertz display normally, but I am using an HDMI 2.1 cable because I had this routed through a capture card, so it will be limited to 240 hertz for this display for those purposes, because frankly, I didn't want to go find the DisplayPort cable. We didn't have time, so it's my fault. But this does go up to 360 hertz. It's a beautiful display. We'll make sure to get a nice gaming stream where we can showcase that performance. And we are here in Valorant right now, so I can just fire up just like a practice range right now.
And I was gonna say, it's not just the monitor. We actually make the complete package to enable this for you. You can get an ROG GPU and the ROG mice that are Nvidia Reflex certified.
And we've got a few mice now. It's so I'm using the Chakram Core, but you can also use a Gladius 3 and the Keras wireless. If you wire it, they will all be compatible with this.
Right.
For the Reflex Latency Analyzer.
Right. So this go ahead.
Before we start, Jake, have you gamed at 360 hertz before?
I've gamed at 300, but never 360. And even like 240 is like so ridiculous compared to 144.
I feel like I have to say this because every time I see this monitor brought up, everyone in like comments or chat is like, whatever, there's no reason to go past 144 or whatever. And I honestly, when I first started reviewing 240 hertz and 360 hertz monitors, I was like, there's no way this is going to be like that different. I was pretty blown away by 240 hertz. It is noticeably better. It's not like the difference between 60 and 144. But it is so nice. It's not just like it's not just that it's smooth. I feel like it's the response time that often goes with something like that. It's not just that it looks nice. It's so smooth and it's so fast that I feel like it gives you this sense of control over your character that even like 140 hertz can't quite match. And like this lack of like motion blur and stuff like that is just so pristine. And at 360 hertz, I thought there's no way I'll be able to tell the difference. And so I actually had my wife run an ABX test for me while I was reviewing this monitor, where like she would change the refresh rate at random and see if I could tell the difference.
Okay.
And I felt like I was guessing every time. I was like, there's no way that I can actually tell the difference. And by the end of it, I had gotten 11 out of 12 right.
Oh, wow.
So it's one of those things where it's really like the difference between 240 and 360 is subtle, but the difference is there. So, and you can tell it even if you don't realize you can tell the difference. It was crazy. I was blown away.
Yeah, let's just talk a little bit about like who this is for. Right. So this is definitely geared towards esports athletes, people that are aspiring to play at the highest level. That is really what this tool is made for. And I've been involved in esports pretty much my whole life, playing a variety of games. I was never an FPS, person myself, but that is definitely the main audience where we're going to see the most use out of this kind of tool, which is great. But it's just kind of speaking from personal experience with these. I'm on a 4K 144 hertz display here. It's the XG29UQ. 27, and over here it's a PG259 QNR. And when I look from this, I mean, it feels better, right? I mean, you can visually see the difference a little bit. You're like, yeah, I guess it looks better. Like, it is noticeable. It's like, but once you actually use the mouse and you actually like feel that movement, it's like unbelievable. Even going back to 144 right now is like,
it's hard to go back.
It's like, do I have to use this monitor? It's
yeah, I think the thing that gets lost if you're just like bench racing this thing in your head is that this is, video games are an interactive experience. We can do things in real life and like immediately process that a thing has happened, and this tool is designed to give you insight into like how much delay there is between a thing, you press the mouse button and it happens on the screen. There's a small delay, but if your system's not optimally configured, like some people never set, unfortunately some people buy high refresh rate monitors, they never change the refresh rate off 60 hertz.
Oh my gosh, it pains me every time I hear one of those stories.
Yeah, it's like,
so I have friends that have done that. Well, I don't see, what are you doing? Yeah.
People are like, oh, I don't see any difference. It's like, well, because you didn't enable the refresh rate, guys. But so in this case, we have two different performance overlays on this display. The left upper corner is actually built into the monitor, and so you can see that we're monitoring the refresh rate and the input of the input latency from mouse click to display output. And so it's in this case, we got 61.5 milliseconds there, but
there's not, like, to put this into context, there's not been an easy way to do that ever up until this, right? Like it's been extremely complicated to measure the full system latency from mouse to monitor.
There was a tool called like DAPS or something. It was like a little box that you could plug into your mouse to measure this stuff that did exist, but it was not great.
It's it's usually been super specialized. Like you have to open up your mouse and make an LED to put on this main switch, and then get like a high-speed camera like a Phantom or something, and then like record it and count frames. And it's like
you literally just plug your mouse into the monitor, right?
Yeah, you plug the mouse into the monitor, you turn on this feature in the OSD, and then you're ready. You can see this little gray box on Jake's gun muzzle. And it's really ingenious. Like the folks at Nvidia who came up with this, I mean, just brilliant. So what it's actually doing is it's monitoring the G-Sync processor in this display. Like there's an actual processor that controls the refresh and everything, and it's actually monitoring what's in that reticle for changes. It's not a software solution. It's built right into the hardware. So in theory, this isn't just something you can use with a PC. This is something you can use with a console, anything you can plug a mouse and keyboard into. It's independent of the source. So long as it can see the display change, it can measure it. Now, we have this awesome little suite of data up in the upper right, which is the GeForce overlay. Jake can zoom in and show us some of what you can see with this fully compatible ecosystem, monitor, GPU, certified mouse. We get frame rates, you get render latency, you get the mouse latency. Like you can click and get like the mouse latency. Jake can start clicking.
I was clicking the wrong mouse. I'm like, why isn't it working? I've got two computers on either side of me.
And so this really does allow for this really, really, really in-depth view into where different sources of latency come into play. And we got this average PC and display latency, 22.3 milliseconds, system latency, 21.6 milliseconds, whatever. And this really, if you're an esports athlete trying to tune your system to minimize input lag, this kind of data has never been so easy to access, and it's never been this in depth, I think. But even if you're an average user, you've never had access to this.
Right, right. I mean, I don't know if the average user is gonna want to employ this all that often, unless you're truly saying like, no, I really want to hit like Grandmaster in my game. I want to hit the highest rank. This is one of those things where it's like, okay, well, where can I get an edge, right? And you know, things for bandwidth, latency, display, refresh rate, you know, everything. Those things all add up.
Right, and I think back when Nvidia, announced, we announced our 360 hertz display, but Nvidia did some testing internally, and I think they said the improvement from going from 240 to 360 was on the order of like 4% or 5% or something like that, which may not sound like a lot, but when you're already an elite player and you want an edge, you can just, an edge that you can just go like pick up off the shelf.
You tell any athlete that here's a 2% increase in your performance.
Right.
What do I need to do to get that? Like,
right.
It doesn't matter what you're
use
doing.
This monitor.
Yeah.
Right. Use this monitor. And so like that's, that's available to everybody. Like no matter your skill level.
My cat is headbutting the tripod right now. So sorry for the shaky cam.
You make a good point that like it obviously like the product is geared towards like the hardcore esports enthusiasts, but even if you're like kind of working your way toward that, this can be a boon, not just for one reason. Like if you have noticeably low input lag and because of like a problem, right? If you have like a really bad mouse or like a weird connection that's causing some sort of delay, like this will help you narrow down where to actually fix
exactly
that problem.
Right.
And the other thing is that's interesting is I don't remember if you guys saw there's some people in the chat mentioning this, that Linus Tech Tips did some tests with super high refresh rates and some pro gamers like Shroud and stuff, and they also had like Linus and Paul playing some games, and the difference between like 60 hertz and the super high refresh rates was actually starker with the more casual players than it was with the super pro players, because because their reaction time just wasn't as practiced and as dialed in.
I don't even know if it's as practiced. I think it's, well, I mean, maybe calling it as practiced works out, because it's just when you have the higher refresh rate, it feels more natural. It feels more fluid. It feels more organic to someone that's not on the PC all the time. When you're playing a game, you learn the quirks of the game, you learn the limitations of the technology, you learn how to work with the 60 FPS if that's what you have, right? Stop headbutting the tripod, this cat man. He's just like rubbing around, trying to get food.
But I mean, in this topic is just, it's near and dear to my heart because I used to be a GPU reviewer, and we were doing like just really in-depth data collection, like frame time level, like how long did it take to generate each frame? Were there big spikes? Were there big inconsistencies? All that fun stuff. And so a tool like this, where you can just see like the total picture of how your PC is performing in response to input, that's just really cool to me. And this technology is coming to more monitors too. It's not just this one.
There's also a software component to this, right? Like there's some built-in reflex latency features within certain games, but then also like there are some like kind of lower input lag features within the Nvidia driver. So like walk me through it. Someone's using this, they measure their input lag, then they want to tune their system to try and reduce input lag as much as possible. What kind of things are you going to tweak at that point?
I mean, I think the big one is actually like, Jake, go ahead and set the display to 60 hertz in Windows, and like, let's see what this does. The big one again is like, these dead simple things, like, is the monitor set to the proper refresh rate? I think we might, oh boy, okay. But you can see it's I think the average latency will go up at 60 hertz, but you can actually, I think I can actually see even on this camera how this is, it's sort of screwing things up
a little bit.
The motion is not as clear, it's not as smooth. But maybe you got an entry-level gaming mouse, and you're just you have not even using a gaming mouse.
153.
Yeah, but I think the average latency is a lot higher here.
Yeah. Well,
So I mean, just switch it back to 240, and but yeah, I mean that's one place to start. Like I think we already said that Valorant supports, what's called the Nvidia Reflex Sdk, which is all this built-in stuff to sort of manage how frames are produced on the system to minimize latency. Like if that's not enabled, you want to enable that. There is, I think, an ultra low latency mode in the Nvidia driver.
Yeah, it's just I think it's just called global low latency mode or something to that effect.
Yeah, it's in the Nvidia control panel. There's a global settings tab. Look for low latency mode, and you can say ultra, and that works independently of games whether they have the Reflex SDK or not. Obviously, you want to use the Reflex SDK if you can, but if it's not available, you can turn that on and lower it.
And I mean the Reflex SDK is in a lot of the types of games you would really want to use it for, right? Like Valorant,
it's
and
coming
Warzone, and
it's coming to more and more games. I don't have a full list in front of me, but
I think
it is
Overwatch
something.
recently got it or is getting it soon.
We are seeing more and more adoption of it. So, and I do think, and sometimes you have weird hardware stuff. Like not every USB port is the same on your motherboard. Some are from the chipset, some are from the CPU, some might be from third-party controllers. Those third-party controllers are of inconsistent quality, so it's like, okay, you can play around with that. There's another, you might, and if that doesn't work, there's other sources of latency in the system. Windows has this thing called DPC, or I think it's deferred procedure call or something like that, but it's a common thing for like real-time audio and tasks like that. And there are tools that let you monitor that. And it's like, if there's a particular driver that's like raising your DPC latency, it might be affecting in-game performance, raising that number. I've seen this firsthand. It screwed up a bunch of GPU tests for me. I was like, oh crap, I have to go back and rerun all of this. But I mean, it's really it can come from really unexpected places, and like having this all in front of you and saying, well, whoa, I think the system Jake's working on is obviously a really high quality gaming PC. It's got a 3080 in it. I think what motherboard's in there, Jake?
This is the Maximus 13 Hero. I actually have the 2080 Ti in there right now because I stole the 3080 from my other PC.
Oh, I got you. Well, yeah, I mean, but the hardware is still compatible. So like, there's a
right. You just need powerful hardware to reach those super high refresh rates.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. A game like Valorant, and CS:GO, these games run with they're a little bit less demanding to hit that high refresh rate, which is why they're desirable for these kinds of demonstrations. But and I just need to defend my honor. You guys, some people were shaming my aim. I am like reaching over awkwardly, and the monitor is at a severe angle to me.
Yeah,
this is not how I would be gaming. So
this guy's a phony, guys.
I'm not an FPS guy, anyways, but I'm not that bad.
But I mean, if you just again, and like I think this is a mistake. This is a really complex issue. Like, when you're running games at 1920 by 1080 with a super powerful graphics card, I think the intuitive response there is like, oh, well, I have a more powerful graphics card, therefore my frame rate should go up. It's not. That's not how it works.
Computers are not that linear, unfortunately.
As as frame rates go up, eventually your CPU cannot feed the GPU enough work. We call that situation being CPU bound. So if you plug a 38, bottlenecked. If you plug a 3080. You plug a 3080 into your 2011 system, you're not gonna
nope.
I have a friend that did that. He took a 2080 Ti he got a couple of years ago, and he slapped it in his PC from like 2012, and he's like, what the heck, my games are running like crap still. I'm just like, well, you see.
Yeah, so I mean, it really is this, having a look into this again, you have the system level look at all these factors that could be contributing latency, and it's right there in that handy little overlay.
It's really cool.
Yeah. So again, this is, if you are into this stuff, if you really want to, again, if you're an enthusiastic amateur, you're a pro, this is at your fingertips. I think one of the cool things about the we have the overlay enabled, but you don't need any of that installed to take advantage of this. You can just go right into the on-screen display. Like if you're an esports player and you come to a tournament with one of these, You can sit down, enable this feature in the OSD, and monitor it, and you're not going to get the full picture that you would from the overlay, but you can be like, whoa, why is my input latency so high? Something's wrong with this computer. I'm going to perform suboptimally. So yeah, it doesn't require any additional hardware to get the basic monitoring.
Did we talk about how this is working, by the way? Like, he's got that reticle. You guys can see that little gray square over the gun. Did we talk about that?
I guess we didn't
full,
yeah, I mean, we weren't super in depth, but just so you guys know, the Chakram core, the mouse I have here, is actually plugged into the display itself. So it's plugged directly in here so that the signal is being read pretty much immediately. And then there's, the USBs running out to the PC from the monitor. But so it's really just detecting that gray box, like all the mouse click and the gray box, they're talking to each other essentially.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right. So yeah, in theory, we talked about this in the pre-show too. Is like, in theory, if you wanted to see, for example, it's like, is PC superior to console? It's like you can plug a PC and mouse, a keyboard and mouse. Yeah, I mean, you can plug a keyboard and mouse into a lot of consoles these days and use that as a control source. And this reticle, you can move around with the on-screen display. So if you can find a point where you're getting that muzzle flash or whatever, or your ultimate activation or whatever in a game, or some other big prominent display change, even if it's a console, this display can track that. Mm-hmm. It's really cool, so long as you can feed it a mouse click. No, a lot of monitors that people are asking in chat do have that USB pass through, as you just typed in response, Whitson, which is really cool because you have the option to do this. And but obviously a lot of monitors have USB ports, but
to be clear,
the G-Sync processor is integral to this. You can't just do this with any displays.
But to be clear, so for the people who didn't realize that, the mouse is plugged into the monitor is plugged into the PC, not just over HDMI or DisplayPort, but you have a USB cable,
separate cable
from the monitor to the PC
to support this tool. Yeah,
I think a lot of people don't realize that monitors have that ability because you get this USB-B cable in the box and you're like, what's this? I don't need this. Just throw it away.
Exactly. But
and so Nubage is asking in the chat, is there latency from the pass through to the PC?
Minimal, but you can see it in the overlay there, I think.
And so that's one of those things that I don't know if you would necessarily run it like this all the time, right? Like, you run it like this to dial in all of your settings, and then you can go plug your mouse back into your PC if you wanted to.
Yeah, if you want. I don't think it's like a sub-millisecond thing. Yeah, I mean, it's specifically designed to be used in this way without incurring performance.
But if people want the peace of mind,
sure.
There you go. I know, I'm that kind of person who's like, I know that this doesn't matter, but I'm still gonna tweak this just so I feel good about myself at night.
You know what? You know what's cursed? I'm looking off the camera feed that's being fed into my other PC to actually aim at these things right now. But it's actually like basically the stream that you see right now. I'm not looking at the monitor where this is actually happening on. I'm looking at what the stream sees, and it's better than trying to look over the shoulder in the other angle. But it's still rough. There's other latency involved there, of course, that I'm seeing. But it's
here's
really
the
cool
tool that can do this for your ping times, and then decrease that latency.
Do our routers have that kind of data? Maybe.
I mean,
they might.
A lot of that's dependent on your ISP too, right?
That's true.
I'm just gonna march down to the Spectrum offices and demand lower latency for my esports.
That's another topic for another day, because there are new technologies that are being discussed that will improve the infrastructure of North American internet, but it's still we're in the Stone Age compared to Korea. It's so bad,
right?
Here, but
and ultimately, you can't change the speed of light.
No,
that is the upper bound.
I like to say that a lot.
Yeah, well, we can try though.
Well, you heard it here first. ROG
billionaires from trying.
ROG is gonna we're gonna try and find a way to modify the speed of light to make your gaming better.
That should be our new tagline.
We can do it. As long as we believe, then anything's possible. You laugh, but I'm serious. I'm just an optimist. So yeah, no, really fun, really cool stuff. This is again, guys, a 360 hertz display. We've had it capped at 240 here for this demonstration, but pretty cool. The tools that do exist with RLA. You might have some of this hardware at home, you didn't know about it. Check it out. Reflex Latency Analyzer made by Nvidia. The price tag for this monitor, I do not have that information on me. I will Google it for you and see if I can find out.
$799.
Okay.
That was going to be my guess because I thought I remembered.
You guys are great.
Yeah,
the best.
And we also make a version of this monitor that does not have the latency analyzer if you're just interested in 360 hertz. And I think that wasn't that like $699 or something, but it made
$699.
Yeah.
So it basically doesn't have that on board.
Right. So you still get like the crazy fast response times and super smooth refresh rates. It has the exact same design, but you don't get that input lag thing that is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And for those wondering, it is a 1080p display.
Yeah.
Yes.
1080p, 24.5 inches. It's designed to be up close to you. So you
designed to be up close. Designed that your entire it fits inside your entire field of view because you want to see everything on screen when you're playing esports.
It's a really important thing. Yeah.
The QNR also comes with a desk mount kit that the QN does not. So you can, if you want to put it on a, this desk mount kit is handy if you just want to scoot your keyboard and mouse right up to the display and not mess with the included stand. So
I just took the desk mount off, but it's beefy. You got this, this big thing that the normal actual stand of the machine just goes on it, and it's honestly like my desk is only 2 feet deep. I think the average desk is like probably, I don't know, 32 inches deep or something. Deeper. Yeah, not a lot deeper. I think about 32 inches. But I thought that was the perfect distance for me. With other people, it might, I don't know. It depends on what you want. I like my monitor pretty close to me, personally. But
someone's asking if it has HDMI 2.1.
Yeah.
Right?
Doesn't it? Or no?
I don't think it does, but it's also not a case where it would benefit. Because it's only 1080p.
Well. In a situation like this, you would probably be using DisplayPort anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
In most scenarios. Well, I guess unless you're using like an Xbox or something.
It's also like the benefit of HDMI 2.1 is, it's 4K 10-bit color HDR all over one cable, 120 hertz. All of these are, your esports games are not going to,
and
this
actually,
is a
we were just talking
display.
about HDMI 2.1 isn't going to get you all the way up to 360 hertz.
No, I can't do it.
So like you wouldn't want to use HDMI 2.1 anyway, unless you were gaming at a lower refresh rate. You're going to want to use DisplayPort as usual if you have.
It's not needed. So there you go.
Just laughing at chat saying that some of these CSGO pros have their nose about like a few centimeters away from the display. I mean, you gotta get any distraction away, focusing on your game. That's how I am, at least. Every player is different. But cool, guys. Any final thoughts here on RLA or anything we might have missed?
I still am sometimes sad when I game at 144 hertz. I need the high resolution for work, but when I'm gaming, that 360 hertz is so sweet.
Yeah, I'm still stuck on a 4K 60 hertz display. It's the worst.
I'm spoiled with my 4K 144 hertz display, and I will say, just with this monitor, now that I have a 3080 in this machine, I was able to take Cyberpunk and push it all the way just to be like, what is the highest level quality I can get in a game, right? And it was just so unbelievably gorgeous. Like, I mean, just ray tracing, fully maxed out ultra settings on the game, HDR. I mean, literally all the check boxes to the max, and like, I'm hitting full 144 with a 5900 and a 3080, and like, unreal experience. Like, I woke up on Sunday morning, that was the first thing I did that day, and I was like, this is this is really cool. So imagine a few years down the road when we're hitting 240 FPS in 4K, right? When we have hardware that can support that, because obviously we're not there yet.
I look forward to that day.
That's gonna be really cool.
Even at 1440p, if I could hit 1440p at 240 hertz, that'd be sweet.
We got monitors to do it too. The PG279 QM,
Don't
which is
tempt
also a
me,
reflex.
Jeff.
Yeah,
I
which
just
is also
bought this monitor in January.
which is also that one's coming soon. But it's also reflex latency analyzer enabled. Really sweet product. So
it's not out yet. It's coming.
yeah, it's coming.
Okay, I thought I had looked and not seen anything for sale yet, but
Yeah.
awesome.
So,
well,
but, yeah.
thanks for that. My wallet says you suck.
Cool. Just a few things to announce. In the near future, likely next week, we're gonna start giving away vouchers for Games Planet during these shows. So look forward to that. We're gonna start giving you guys just some, basically $20 vouchers that you guys can win. We're also going to be doing those on all of our live gameplay streams that we do only on Twitch. So if you do not follow our Twitch channel already, head over to twitch.tv/AsusROG to follow us there if you're one of those watching on YouTube. But if you're tuning in on YouTube, make sure you do subscribe to the channel as well, as we will have, this podcast every single week with varying topics. Next week, we're actually taking a close look at a custom Gundam build using our Gundam X ROG products. That build is arriving at my house tomorrow. We're gonna get to see what it's all about. We're gonna be talking to Snef about the build that he built himself. So that's gonna be really cool, because honestly, like this whole Gundam collaboration is really cool. I have yet to see the hardware in person, so I'm thrilled for that box to arrive. I'm being yelled at to smile. I need to smile more.
I feel like Jake smiles a lot.
I don't know. Maybe not. I do have a default scowl sometimes, but it's fine. And after that, we're just going to be diving in to talk about mobile games and just the mobile ecosystem. A lot of these new games like Pokemon Unite coming out. And lastly, I'll say is just join our Discord. I should post the chat here. We do have a I'll find the link next time, but we do have a Discord you can join. Let us know that we have a live stream section in that Discord, and maybe Mr. Agape can post the link. I don't know if he has it available, but yeah, he's saying hold on, he's gonna get it for us. Yes, but we're gonna just we'll take suggestions for topics you guys want to hear about in that Discord. If you guys are particularly wanting to hear about XYZ, we would love to do the research if we need to, or just dive in and talk about it and get some cool stuff there. Jeff is the only one smiling. God damn it, Jeff, you got it on. Discord, there it is. There's the link right there in chat. If you guys want to join our Discord community, please join there. We have a live stream chat section, and
it's in the Twitch chat. I'll put it in YouTube.
Oh yeah, you're the best. You're the best. And my cat is now meowing again.
I've not forgotten about you YouTubers. I got your back.
Perfect. Cool, guys. Well, I think we're gonna wrap it there, unless there's any final thoughts. Okay. Bam. Whitson, congrats, you did it. Our first episode that you joined on.
It was easy.
Just talk about
I miss podcasting. I did it for years, and it's nice to be back in the game.
Glad to have you. Fun. Yeah. All right, friends. We'll see you next time. GG's and take care.